Hi, I'm Sheridan Webb from the Training Designers Club, and in this series of videos I am just sharing some musings, some little things that come to mind from everyday life that I think relates to training design, because I'm on a mission to help everyone to create really impactful but practical training with the minimum of fuss. In this musing, I want to go back for the last time to the murder mystery weekend, which was a fantastic weekend. There's an awful lot of information available over the weekend and it appears over time. And if you haven't been on one before, this is all presented and we had 7 flip charts full of information, articles, notes, photographs, all these various things. But of course, they only tell part of the story. They tell you a lot of the story. If you're really clever and can piece all that information together, you're going to get a reasonable idea as to what's happened, why, and of course, crucially, who done it. But there's an awful lot that's behind the scenes. There's an awful lot that isn't immediately obvious just by looking at that information. So you have to go and cross-examine the actors. You have to ask them lots and lots of questions and really interrogate them. You have to collaborate with your fellow guests. We found out a lot of information by chatting to other guests and sharing information and sharing theories as well and checking things out. Through this, we were able to almost solve our mystery. I think we got a runner-up prize, which was absolutely fantastic because we were very, very close. We got the right person mostly, and we got a lot of the motives and we linked the evidence to it. Now, what's the link to training design? I think this is quite a big link to training design because our stakeholders in particular seem to think that content is king. And of course, content is important, like the evidence on those evidence boards is important. We could not have solved these murders if that evidence had not been there. But content on its own is rarely enough. We really need to bring that content to life. We need to give it some context. We need to dig underneath the surface of that content. We need to know what actually it means. Where did it come from? What's the significance of it? What does it mean to us? We need to discuss that content with other people who are making sense of it and trying to apply it as well. So we need to learn from our peers. So today's musing is really a reminder that we need to make sure that we provide content in more than one way to people. So just producing a video or a slideshow or a workbook on its own is rarely enough. We have to provide some sort of interactive element as well. I appreciate this doesn't always mean you have to run a face-to-face workshop. I'm a lover of face-to-face workshops, but I have been convinced that it isn't always the answer, but sometimes it is. What we do need to do instead is to find other ways for people to have those conversations, either directly, so maybe you have a Q&A webinar, maybe you just have a seminar following a lot of distance learning, or you can even have it asynchronously through a discussion group or a thread in a chat, or maybe you can just have ways for people to contact and get answers to their questions. Because for learning to be really impactful, we need to understand, or the delegates need to understand, what it means to them. They need to join the dots for themselves. They need to think about how they can apply it. And if we're just presenting information in a 2D fashion, that is less likely to happen. So that's today's musing, really. How are we going to balance the need between pure content, 2D, there are the facts, and that interactive element, that human side that really helps us to get to grips with what it all means. So go away and have a think about what that means to you in your training design and how you can make sure you get the best of both worlds. For more help with your training design, whether you're new to training design or an old hand and you just want to refresh ideas, do check out the Training Designers Club. It's www.trainingdesignersclub.co.uk. We have resources, we have free Facebook groups, and we have a VIP membership and an agile on-demand learning hub to support you in your training design, whether you need a little tiny bit of occasional support or you want to be part of a virtual team.